Ethan said on the day we were supposed to get our marriage certificate. I waited outside the civil affairs office until it got dark. I was freezing and shivering when I finally called him. On the other end I heard laughter and someone said, "Wendy can wait all day, pay up, pay up." Ethan chuckled and said, "All right, Wendy, we were just making a bet. Head home now." I hung up, shocked, and saw a handsome stranger smiling at me. "Getting married, miss? You can go in and get your certificate now." I hesitated for a second, then whispered, "Okay." "Ethan," I sniffled from a runny nose, "are you done yet? If you don't come, we won't get our certificate today." "Wendy." There was a brief pause from Ethan's end. Then he asked, "What time did you get there again?" 9 o'clock. I glanced at my watch, worried he'd feel guilty. "It's fine, I've already filled out the forms for us. You just need to." I got cut off by loud cheers from his side. 6 hours. I told you Wendy can wait for 6 hours. Pay up, pay up. Ethan? I felt uneasy. "What are you doing? Betting?" I froze up. "So, are we still getting the certificate today?" Seemed like Ethan had his phone on speaker. The laughter hit me hard, making me want to disappear out of embarrassment. Ethan laughed again. "Be realistic, Wendy. Go home, don't make a fuss." Tears pricked my eyes. "You're really not coming?" All I got in return was a busy signal. I wiped my tears hard, not caring if it ruined my makeup. Then I heard a voice. "Want to get married, miss? You can go in now and get a certificate." I looked up, confused, meeting a pair of twinkling eyes. The guy in front wore a leather jacket with his hands in his jeans pockets, bending slightly towards me. "What do you mean?" My face went red. I'm naturally shy and dislike interacting with strangers. Even after being with Ethan for so long, I still felt awkward around his friends. I got stood up. "You got stood up." The handsome guy smiled at me. "We're in the same boat, poor us. From college till now, I've been with Ethan for 6 years. I met him in my junior year when my roommate dragged me to see some school-hosted tournament. Wendy, you don't know how handsome James is. He's the favorite to win." Back then, Ethan hadn't returned to the greens as the young master. He was an up-and-coming star in the esports world. After the match, the host randomly picked audience members to interact with, and somehow I got chosen. "Which contestant impressed you the most today?" My face turned red.
Red. James, I guess?
My roommate had only mentioned him, and I couldn't name any of the other 7 guys. "Why's that?" "He's handsome." The audience burst into friendly laughter, heightening the atmosphere. Ethan, with his headphones on, stopped mid-sip of his drink when he heard me, then flashed a bright smile. The stage lights behind him were so dazzling they made me dizzy. The noisy venue quieted down, and all I could hear was my racing heartbeat. I also got a note with 5 words. "Watch carefully this time." After the match, I visited him in the players' lounge. "This is a mousepad with a wrist rest. Using a mouse for too long might hurt your wrist." I quickly glanced at him, my heart racing at the sight of his amused smile. "Thanks for inviting our dorm. They all like you. Your dorm buddies or you?" I was caught off guard looking up at him. He had a playful grin with a sparkle in his eyes. "You don't like me?" I looked into his eyes, feeling bewitched.
Ido.
Who wouldn't like someone so bright and alluring? Ethan nodded, took my phone, tapped a bit, then returned it, tapping my forehead. "Head back and reply to my message." I blushed, seeing the note he left on my phone. I thought Ethan sounds way better than James. Though Ethan's base was in City A, the tournament matches were nationwide, and our school hosted only a few, so he flew out soon after. But he messaged me every day without fail. When he was competing in Chongqing, he complained about the spicy food, worried sick it would affect his matches. I found his address and sent over bubble tea and fried chicken before his evening stream. "Gotta eat well to compete, good luck." The next morning I saw his reply. "It was great, thanks, Wendy." I buried my head under my blanket, smiling like a fool. Later he went to Xi'an, telling me about all the great food and sending food pics, filling up the table. I joked back, "James, posting food pics at midnight is cruel." Ethan replied quickly with a voice message. I snuck headphones in, pulling my bed curtains, and pressed play. He said with a smile, "Don't worry, I'm responsible for you." 3 days later, I received a box of Xi'an specialties with a note. "I'm here to be responsible." By the time Ethan stood under my dorm holding 99 roses, I was already dreaming of marriage and kids. But now, holding this little red book, I was surprised by how calm I felt about getting married to someone other than Ethan.
No waves, no ripples.
Add me on Instagram.
I'm Wendy.
I knew it. The guy raised his eyebrows and just sent over his name. I saw it earlier when he filled out the form. It was a really nice name. I'm Zoe, I said. Got stood up today, but my family is really pressuring me, so seriously, thank you. Zoe gave a bit of a bitter smile and pulled out a ring box from her pocket. Here, you're gonna need this, she said. I looked at the elegantly cut teardrop diamond, sighing softly inside for the girl who didn't show up. Also, Zoe said, seeing me take the ring. She smiled. My family's a bit complicated, so you might have to meet my parents soon. I shook my head. No worries, in a couple of months I might need you to come to my place too. My grandma's been eager to meet her future grandson-in-law. Zoe chuckled with a nod. Of course. Although we're in a marriage of convenience, we're like family now. If you ever need anything, just ask. The word family hit me and I softened my gaze. All right, I said. Back at my apartment, I looked at the mess left from rushing out in the morning. Letting out a sigh, I started cleaning up, but I stepped on something. It was the first necklace Ethan ever gave me. Somehow it broke this morning when I was leaving. In the rush to catch up with Ethan, I didn't pick it up, just glanced at it quickly. Back when Ethan was at the top of esports, and even after he retired, being the adored young master of the greens, why did I believe he would want to marry someone as insignificant as me? Tears fell onto the necklace he gave me. It was then that Ethan's call came through, sounding a bit fuzzy. Wendy, I don't feel so good. Could you bring me some of that porridge you made last time? Someone else took over the call.
Hey, sis.
Ethan's hung over. Could you bring over the porridge you made last time? It'll help. I chuckled softly. I always brought a different kind of porridge and no one ever noticed. I thought about saying no, but seeing some things I'd packed up, it felt right to return them in person. Text me the address. I'm on my way. When I arrived, Ethan looked a bit better, lounging in a single chair with his eyes closed. Ethan, I called to him quietly, and he lazily looked over at me. Come here for a hug, he said, lifting an arm. There were quiet cheers in the room. All right, Ethan, you've shown off enough, someone joked. I pressed my lips tight. Ethan, you stood me up and now you want a hug? He chuckled, still laid back. Are you mad? That time when I lost at Truth or Dare, I called and joked about us getting married. It was just for laughs with the guys. Come on, let hubby give you a hug. Here we go again. I bowed my head, holding back tears. At a party, he'd say I played piano, making me perform. At meals, he'd call me boring, pushing me to tell jokes. Even in dares, I'd be the pawn. Ethan, I said quietly, handing over the bag. Please don't call me that anymore. I'm married now. So I said it louder. I'm married, I announced. The lively room fell silent. All eyes were on me and tension filled the air. Ethan's expression turned dark, glaring at me. He snickered after a moment.
Fine, Wendy.
Got a temper now, huh? Learned some tricks. No, I shook my head, extending the bag further. Here's everything you gave me. Packed it all. Check if I missed anything and I'll mail it to you. Let's not cause any more misunderstandings. Goodbye, Ethan. Pulling on a smile harder to wear than tears, I turned and opened the room's door, allowing the tears to finally fall. The room was eerily quiet. Ethan's face was thunderous and no one dared to speak. Ahem, Kathy, Aaron nudged his girlfriend. Maybe go see what's up with Wendy. Don't be mad. Come back and talk with Ethan. Ethan said nothing at first but deep down hoped someone would bring Wendy back. He knew the joke had gone too far. He planned to get her a nice bag and say some sweet words. She'd forgive him like always. She was soft when it came to him, never staying mad too long. I wouldn't bother. Kathy swirled her wine glass. Didn't anyone notice the ring on Wendy's left hand? I've been saying don't make those dumb bets. Now you scared her off, mister. Ethan's gonna have to chase her down himself. The ring? Ethan felt a heated rush forward in his mind. He grabbed a bottle from the table, smashing it down, sneering, fine, this is pushing for marriage. Got the ring ready, huh? He thought he'd indulged Wendy too much, raising her to be too headstrong, daring to lie like that, embarrass him among friends. The next day, waking up, I saw a message from Kathy, saying Ethan threw a huge tantrum after I left. I replied with a simple smiley face. It didn't matter to me now. Kathy and I were indeed different from personality to background, so being friends was a miracle. Maybe because each time, We were just the unwilling plus ones accompanying our boyfriends. Are you serious about this? Kathy asked in a message. Yeah, I typed back calmly. Didn't you once suggest Ethan wasn't good news? Kathy sent a playful emoji. I'm rooting for you. Hopefully this time Ethan's driven nuts. When you truly tie the knot, I'll gift you a big red envelope. I chuckled softly. Even Kathy didn't believe I was actually getting married. No wonder Ethan was so mad. He too probably thought I was bluffing. The phone chirped again. It was Ethan's message. Pick your stuff up from my place, Wendy. If you're cutting ties, make it clean. I did leave a lot of my clothes at Ethan's. Every time he brought me over, it'd end with him wanting to take things to the bedroom. Honestly, I was kinda against doing this before marriage, but Ethan really wanted it, and I genuinely wanted to be his wife. Slowly, I started leaving more and more stuff at his place. Now that we've split, it's probably best to take it back. I mean, I'm not someone who can just throw stuff away like it's nothing. Sorry, Ms. Wendy, the guard said apologetically, looking at me. Mr. Ethan just said not to let any unfamiliar vehicles in, so you'll have to go in alone. I nodded, saying it was fine, and walked in slowly. Ethan likes to make others just as unhappy as he is when he's upset. There was this one time I wanted him to come home with me, and he refused. I nagged him about it until he found me annoying and just dropped me at the entrance to the villa area. I ended up walking home alone for over 20 minutes. He was leaning against his car, smoking and waiting for me. When he saw my eyes getting red and teary, he raised an eyebrow. Calm down, still gonna kick up a fuss? I bit my lip and shook my head. When he pulled me into his arms, I couldn't help but sob, clutching his shirt tightly. Could you, not leave me? All right, won't leave you, he replied, gently fixing my wind-tousled hair and kissing my forehead. Be good, Wendy. I'll always be with you. Lucky for me, Ethan wasn't mad enough to change the house code. I punched it in and the door opened with a beep. But stepping inside, I was shocked enough to involuntarily gasp. Ethan was cornering a pretty young girl at the dining table, lightly brushing her hair aside, a faint smile on his lips as he leaned in close to her cheek. The girl was facing me and seeing me seemed just as startled, quickly pushing Ethan away with a flushed face. Surprisingly, my heart, which I thought would crumple in pain, was beating steadily and strong, not a hint of disturbance. It was kind of, fascinating. I subconsciously rubbed the ring on my left hand. Liking Ethan came suddenly, but losing him seemed just as quick. Sorry for the interruption, I said, looking down to avoid their gaze. I'm just gonna go upstairs and grab my stuff. Won't take long. But I hadn't been in the bedroom for 2 minutes when Ethan followed me in, eyes locked on my face. Yesterday, the minute my mom heard we fought, she sent someone over, he said. Yeah, I mumbled under my breath. Ethan's mom didn't like me. She often introduced him to pretty girls. Well, you get along then. Don't let her down. Suddenly the light dimmed and Ethan leaned in, his expression intense. Wendy, I'm giving you one chance. Beg me, and you'll still be my only girlfriend. And weren't you talking about marriage? Propose to me. Do you need me to make the first move for everything? I thought back to those times. Once, watching fireworks, I had nestled into his arms and asked but got no answer. Another time I even bought a ring, but before I could present it, he had quietly stopped me. Wendy, he had said, don't make things awkward. Put it away. And now, here he was asking me to beg for the third time. But I couldn't bring myself to do it anymore. I fastened the latch on my suitcase. I've packed all my stuff. If I missed anything, just throw it out. Thanks. Wendy. Ethan breathlessly caught up with me, trapping me against the fence at the door, making it impossible to move. I've been pretty nice to you this time, haven't I? What's it gonna take for you to stop this nonsense? A little tantrum is fine, but are you serious about this joke? See this, Ethan? I lifted my left hand to show him the ring on my ring finger. I told you yesterday I got married. He chuckled. Come on, Wendy. You can't fool yourself with a fake ring. Who do you think you are? Just standing outside a courthouse waiting for someone to marry you. Ethan held onto my wrist tightly, refusing to let go. I started to cry. Ethan, I really got married, let me go. In the very next moment, a figure darted in front of me, and Ethan's grip suddenly slackened. I fell sideways from inertia, but into a warm embrace. Recognizing the familiar eyes, I stood dumbfounded. Zoe? The once cheerful Zoe now looked grim, eyes piercing as they glared at Ethan. Stay away from her. Ethan wiped a scratch on his cheek made by a branch, sneering, Zoe, young master, stealing women on my turf now? Your turf? Zoe raised an eyebrow, took a small red booklet from their jacket, and opened it to show him. See this? Name Zoe. Wife Wendy. Zoe then grasped my left hand, showing off the ring. Got it from Paris last week. Then, holding me tight, they said, Mr. Ethan, I've got to ask, what exactly did you plan to do by trapping my wife in broad daylight? Ethan's pupils widened, his typically arrogant eyes showing a flicker of panic. Wendy, what does he mean? What it says. I lowered my gaze. Ethan, I told you yesterday I got registered with someone else. You. Ethan's chest heaved with emotion. Is this revenge for me standing you up? You just went and randomly found someone to marry? You think Zoe's a great catch or something? You know why he's marrying, right? His dad's just about to have a love child there, and he needs to marry to secure the inheritance. Wendy, can't you think for once? Are you that desperate for a man you jump on the first one you find? Zoe suddenly released me and landed a hard punch on Ethan's face, swelling it instantly. Ethan took a moment to react but quickly tried to hit back. The two of them started wrestling each other. I rushed to hug Zoe from behind, my back turned to Ethan. Stop fighting. Ethan, seeing Wendy's back, felt a tight clench in his chest. His half-raised fist paused as he looked at the trembling figure in front of him, filled with mixed emotions. Sensing the quiet, I gently patted Zoe. Stand up. The previously fierce Zoe obediently stood but still shielded me with a cold stare at Ethan on the ground. Ethan, I said, no longer showing any emotion, it was my choice to marry him. You've always known my grandma is seriously ill. Her last wish is to meet her grandson-in-law. You didn't want to marry me, so I had to find another way. I was too full of myself before, always having silly fantasies. So maybe it's for the best now. Let's call it quits. I wanted to pull Zoe away, but he just stood there, not moving. He looked at Ethan with a hurt expression and threw in one last jab. Next time Ethan thinks about getting married, don't leave the girl waiting outside the registry all day. A cute girl like Wendy could easily get snatched away. With that, he held my hand and slowly walked back. After a couple steps, he paused and flashed a malicious grin. Oh, I forgot. Mr. Ethan might never find a girl as cute as Wendy in his lifetime. Hearing those words, Ethan's eyes, staring at Wendy's departing figure, suddenly shrank with an unprecedented fear. He felt like he might really lose Wendy this time. Zoe took me to a villa, fancier than Ethan's place. It even had an outdoor pool in the backyard. I hesitated before asking, are you rich? Zoe smirked, though it tugged at the injury on his lip, making him grimace, just a little bit rich. He made me laugh. Is this gonna be a problem for you, Wendy? Zoe asked, seeing me smile, dropping the goofy face and looking serious. No, it's not. His stare made me a bit nervous. I won't take your stuff, don't worry. Oh right, I just remembered, didn't we sign a prenup? Zoe suddenly sighed, reaching out to gently touch my wrist that Ethan had reddened, muttering, if I knew it was you, I wouldn't have signed it. Huh. His head was too low, I couldn't hear him. What did you say? Looking at Zoe carefully applying medicine to me, I got lost in thought. It wasn't a big injury, but he tended to it so meticulously, like handling something fragile. Finally, he looked up at me, his eyes incredibly gentle. Wendy, are you free this weekend to come home for a meal with me? I was startled but quickly remembered what Ethan just said. Sure, but won't your family think I'm just an average person? Just like Ethan's parents did. But Zoe just shrugged it off with a smile, saying his grandma's only requirement for a partner was to bring home a girl. I have a friend who wouldn't get married for the longest time. Then he brought home a girlfriend and scared his parents half to death. Since then, my grandma's been worried sick I might bring home a boyfriend myself someday. I managed to stifle a laugh and nodded. What about your parents? What gifts should I bring for them? Zoe was silent for a moment. My dad's mostly overseas. My mom divorced him when I was little, so I haven't seen them much. As long as grandma likes you, that's enough. Poor kid. As I looked at Zoe lowering his head, I couldn't help but think of a guilty puppy and reached out to ruffle his hair. Don't be sad, I'll help you now. No one's gonna steal what's yours. Not that it's just about that, Zoe protested, but he really only approached me for the inheritance. Luckily enough, he met Wendy. Zoe didn't lie to me. His grandma was over the moon seeing the marriage certificate, calling me baby repeatedly. Grandma. Zoe chimed in, what's going on? I already told Wendy I'm the only one who gets to call her baby. Zoe's grandma laughed, smacking his back playfully. You jealous rascal, you were hiding her so well. Finally bringing her home now. Wendy, Zoe's grandma took my hand. How long have you two been together? Huh. I was caught off guard. Zoe hadn't prepped me, so I hedged quite some time. It's been 5 years now, Grandma. Zoe took over. When you threw me out, I was unloved, no one would even feed me. Wendy thought I was too pitiful and ordered me a meal. Best meal I ever had. From then on, I vowed to bring her home and cook for her forever. Watching Zoe's grandma laugh heartily, I couldn't help twitching my lips. Zoe had quite the imagination when it came to fake marriages. He seemed to have some serious experience. Just as we were enjoying ourselves, I suddenly got a call from my mom. We usually use Instagram, so a sudden call meant something urgent. My heart jumped as I fumbled to pick up. Hello, Mom, what's up? Is it Grandma? Wendy, my mom whispered, why didn't you tell me your boyfriend was visiting? And you let him come alone? I inhaled sharply. Mom, did he say his name? You silly girl. It's the Ethan you always talk about. Hey, he's here, he's coming over. Mom, who's calling you? A strange premonition crept over me. Wendy, you should really come back. My mom hurriedly instructed. He's arranged a VIP room for your grandma and got some specialists. Even the director's been down to check. Anyway, I've gotta go, get today's train ticket and come back. Zoe insisted on accompanying me home, but I stopped him. Your grandma said your brother's watching you closely. I patted his arm reassuringly. You handle your stuff, I'll be back soon. Zoe held onto my sleeve, unwilling to let go, looking all pitiful. Ethan won't cry to you and make us divorce, right?
No, I szuklat sufli.
I'm a horse. I don't eat grass that's been grazed. I hurried to the hospital in the dead of night, where Grandma was already asleep. I only relaxed after confirming she hadn't been upset by Ethan today. After calming down my parents, I took a cab straight to the hotel where Ethan was staying. I knocked on the door, and he opened it with a knowing smile, not the least bit surprised. Coming over this late must have been a hassle, baby. As he used to, he tried to wrap me in his arms, but I stepped back, avoiding his embrace. Ethan, I looked at him quietly, if the Greens have too much money to spend, why not just throw it on the streets? Ethan chuckled softly, what are you talking about? I'm just being filial to my grandma. Don't make me out to be some spoiled rich kid. What do you actually want? His words left me infuriated, shrinking my throat. Ethan, you're the one who didn't want to get married, and now you won't let go either. I'm not a young girl anymore. Can't play these games with you. I'm already married to someone else. Can't you just let me go? Married? To Zoe? Ethan's eyes turned red as he pinned me against the wall with one hand. Do you really think being with Zoe will be easy? Do you even know how hard it is to get along with his stepmom? His girlfriend knew better to run before it was too late. And here you are, willingly jumping into the fire. He spoke while scrolling through his phone. Look, 3 days before your marriage, he was still getting cozy with another girl. That girl is his first love. Do you think he really loves you? Don't be naive, Wendy. No one would treat you as well as I do. He raised his phone, showing a photo of Zoe and a pretty girl. The girl seemed upset, turning away to leave, yet had a faint smile at the corner of her mouth, while Zoe, smiling, grabbed her hand from behind, as if trying to say something. So this must be the owner of that ring. My hand instinctively touched the diamond ring on my left hand. Though I knew Zoe had been stood up by someone he liked, seeing their picture brought inexplicable bitterness. Rose petals were scattered on the white sheets, forming a heart shape. The person before me got down on one knee, pulled out a ring, and looked at me earnestly. Wendy, marry me. That was the scene I had imagined since graduating college. It was my greatest dream for 6 years and the most unattainable wish. But when it unfolded before my eyes, all I felt was exhaustion and boredom. No, I won't. I shook my head, moving my lips slightly, pausing after every word. Ethan's face changed drastically. Why? Wendy, he trembled, the ring falling to the floor with a clatter. Didn't you always want to marry me? I bowed my head, chuckling softly. So you knew all along. But I don't want that anymore. I knelt down, picked up the ring, and gently placed it in his palm, speaking with great tenderness. I don't love you anymore. Maybe I stopped loving you the moment you tossed away my wedding ring. And the delay was not because of lingering feelings, but because I finally broke free from the habit of loving you. So please let me go. Wendy's gentle voice pierced Ethan's ears like a knife. She recalled losing a ring Wendy had given him once. Ethan, having been with many girls, had a premonition the moment Wendy pulled out the small box about what she would say. But he always thought of Wendy as a little girl, that marriage should not be on their agenda anytime soon, so he hurriedly hushed her. The young girl, a bit startled, obediently handed over the box without a word, only saying she bought it because it looked nice. Months later, she asked him why he didn't wear the ring. It was just a platinum ring with a diamond small enough to be practically invisible. He glanced at it and then forgot where he put it. That wasn't the kind of ring Ethan would wear. I don't know, he replied offhandedly, adjusting his tie. Maybe I lost it. He saw the light in Wendy's eyes dim, but she still obediently helped straighten his clothes, planting a soft kiss on his cheek before he left. But from that moment they could never go back. I wanted to move Grandma to a regular ward. The prices of a private room were too much for a working-class family like ours. But Mom said Grandma's condition wasn't stable, and all this moving around wasn't good for her. But we can't afford these costs much longer, I sighed. Nonsense, a cheerful voice came from behind, as Zoe entered the room carrying bags. Ma'am, Zoe flashed his trademark smile. I'm Zoe. Wendy and I got the license last week. We haven't had a chance to visit. Sorry about this. Mom's eyes widened. Marriage license? Wendy, weren't you talking about marrying Ethan? On one side was the smiling Zoe, and on the other my mom, ready to interrogate. I shot Zoe a look, covering my face playfully. Unlike Ethan's sharp features, Zoe's constant smile made him more approachable. My mom quickly warmed up to his story, growing fonder of him. The wedding happened so fast, and I didn't have time to prepare a betrothal gift for Wendy. My grandma asked me to bring this. Zoe pulled out a card, handing it over to my mom. There's $2 million on here. Please take it. Mom was surprised but accepted the card and handed it to me. Since it's for Wendy, she should keep it. Zoe shook his head. This is for you and Dad. Wendy's gift is something separate. I was stunned by Zoe's arrangement. It wasn't until we got into the car that I reacted. Why didn't you discuss this with me beforehand? This helps solve your problems, Zoe replied, glancing at me. Now that the home issue is sorted, let's handle the ones outside. I rubbed my temples, regretting letting Zoe's persuasion make me pour out Ethan's drama the previous night. What are you planning to do about the outside issues? Thinking of the two of them fighting, I nervously grabbed at Zoe's sleeve. You better not get into a fight. Grandma asked about your injuries last time. And this time I'm not making up a story. No fighting, Zoe chuckled, taking out a file from the bag. I've got something good to show him. What's this? Picked it up. The cover read, Share Transfer Agreement. I, Zoe, of my own free will, transfer 37% of Zoe Corporation's shares I own to my wife, Wendy. Once this document takes effect, Wendy will become the largest shareholder of Zoe Corporation. Are you crazy? I looked at Zoe, my voice a bit shaky. Don't be scared. Zoe tucked my loose hair behind my ear. Zoe Corporation is running well. No risk of going bankrupt soon. Even if something were to happen, it states here that the responsibility and debts remain with me. Is that what I'm talking about? I threw the document back at Zoe. You worked so hard for those shares, and you're just handing them over to me like it's nothing? So what? Zoe chuckled softly, looking down. If I can't even keep my wife, what's the point of a company? Don't say that. I suddenly felt a pang in my heart. We're going to get divorced anyway. Once your girlfriend comes around and wants to marry you, we can register anytime. What girlfriend? Zoe's mouth dropped in surprise and he sat up straight. I tightly pressed my lips, pulled out a picture Ethan sent me yesterday and showed it to him. Is this the girl you were planning to marry from the start? Zoe opened his mouth, then shut it and squeezed out a word from his throat. Yes. Zoe closed his eyes and sighed. Yes. Then what's left to say? I chuckled, wiping away my tears and silently scolding myself. Wendy, you're such a fool. Always unable to control your own heart. Zoe took me with a share transfer document he'd already signed and knocked on Ethan's door. The man who'd been sulking in the car suddenly looked all aggressive, holding me with one arm and shoving the document in Ethan's face with the other. Heard Ethan's been flirting with someone's wife? Check if you're even capable first. Share transfer agreement? Ethan's face darkened. Zoe, you're quite the daredevil. So what, think I can't afford it? Zoe raised an eyebrow, holding up a recording device that had been hidden under his coat sleeve. Wonder how your grandpa would feel hearing that? Would he still trust handing the company to you? And with all those issues between you and your cousin? Ethan's face instantly fell. You set me up? Who gave you this idea? Does it matter who? Zoe scoffed. If you're smart, stay away from my wife. In the elevator, Zoe cursed under his breath, calling Ethan spineless for only talking and not acting, and sidled closer to me. Don't worry, Wendy, he won't bother you again. Back in City, I received a box from Ethan. Inside was the ring he proposed with that night and a card. A final gift for you. I chuckled bitterly, tossing it at the door and scheduling a pickup to return it. He really didn't come looking for me again, and neither did Zoe. The only good news was that after Ethan went to see Grandma, she was in much better spirits and health. She video called, saying she didn't remember the guy's face last time and asked when I could bring him back again. I laughed along but thought I might have to bring someone new next time. When the snow melted in City, Zoe texted, asking if I had time to join him and friends for dinner. I thought about our marriage agreement with 8 months left and agreed. Then I threw the ring he gave me into my bag, planning to return it. I hadn't worn it since coming back home. Zoe picked me up from work and instantly noticed my bare ring finger. Where's your ring gone? Here. I pulled out the velvet box from my bag, smiling, and handed it over, saying it was a good time to give it back. Zoe paused for a second, then took it. Fine by me. If it's not yours, no need to wear it. My eyes started stinging again. I quickly pinched myself, swallowing back tears. Zoe took me to a nice restaurant. When we opened the private room door, only 2 girls were inside. One smiled and reached for him. I looked closely, and it was the girl from the photo. A shiver ran through me and I felt outrage. What's going on here? I looked up at Zoe in confusion. Zoe sternly asked, stand up straight, Candace. Didn't you promise to marry me then? The girl hung her head, looking disheartened. Yes, I did promise. But though I bailed, you ended up with a lovely sister like her. Shouldn't you thank me? Zoe nodded. Well then, tell me, why didn't you show? Candace glanced sheepishly at the tall girl behind her. My sister wouldn't let me, and I couldn't let her be upset, right? You have your wife to please, and I have mine. Huh. I blinked in surprise. What's this girl talking about? See, Wendy, Zoe heaved a sigh, looking at me pitifully. We were just clean business, no romance involved. After the meal, Zoe took me home. We didn't talk much on the way. But just as I was about to head upstairs, he stopped me. Wendy, you have doubts about that photo, but the other person in it was on vacation abroad at that time. I'm afraid my explanation will only upset you more. Sure, I was a bit of a jerk during my teenage years, but I never bothered girls. I'd never bring anything annoying to you. I felt my throat getting dry. Why are you telling me all this? Wendy, I don't want a marriage out of convenience, and I don't want to divorce you. He took a step back, got down on one knee, showing a sparkling diamond ring. This ring was supposed to be for Candace as a payment, though she never saw it. It was never meant to be yours. This one, I designed it with a designer. I learned to cut diamonds for 3 months to make it myself, and I etched our names inside it. Will you marry me? I clasped my hand over my mouth to hold back tears. With a raspy voice I said, didn't we already get married? It's different, Zoe shook his head. Last time we got the paperwork, it was for a year. This time it's a forever commitment. Will you let me love you for a lifetime? I nodded while crying, watching him slide the ring onto my finger. The image of the lover I hoped for in my youth gradually became clear. It turned out to be the person right in front of me. I wish we had met before we were married. Zoe's epilogue. Zoe was always pampered, never worried about anything. Until he was 16, when his grandma found out his dad had other kids out there. A sharp-minded lady, she went back to her old ways, sending him abroad for studies while confronting his father. After calculating the ages of the illegitimate children, she came up with a plan for him to settle down and take over Zoe Enterprises. So Zoe went from being a rebellious teen to an academic slave tortured by deadlines. Later, at 20, he returned home to find Zoe Enterprises aiming to make a shift in the e-sport boom. His grandma kicked him into being a trainee, so he could experience firsthand the ins and outs of the gaming industry. He knew the world was tough, just not this tough. What kind of miserable life was this as a trainee? During a tournament he didn't like the packed lunch provided, didn't eat it, and while uncomfortably rolling on the lounge floor, a masked girl suddenly walked in. Oh sorry. She was holding a lunchbox, clearly lost. Do you know where Michael is? No way would a star player share a room with a benchwarmer. He pointed in a direction, but the aroma from the lunchbox caught his attention. Miss Zoe gulped. Which restaurant is that from? Can you recommend it? Huh. The girl laughed. I made it. Made a bit extra today so you can have this. So after 4 years abroad and 6 months as a trainee, Zoe felt he'd tasted the best meal of his life. Ethan's really lucky, he thought bitterly. His path is all laid out at home, and he even has fans bringing him food. Later he found out she wasn't a fan, just Ethan's girlfriend. She accompanied him to tournaments, rain or shine. Zoe felt a bit envious. It'd be nice if someone did that for him too. Occasionally, he heard Ethan arguing with her in the next room. The girl never fought back, just listened quietly, sniffling when it got too much. But whenever Ethan hugged her and called her Wendy a couple of times, she'd be okay again. He shamefully realized he felt a pang whenever she smiled and called Ethan's name. She's soft as dandelion fluff, Zoe thought. But she was taken. He could only suppress his feelings and decide to marry someone and focus on his career. When he registered for marriage with Wendy, he was happy, thinking he now had his own Wendy. Until he saw Ethan outside his house seemingly breaking up with his girlfriend. Zoe ran over excitedly, thinking his chance had come. Only when she fell into his arms did he realize that she truly was his Wendy. That dandelion fluff he had longed for had finally twirled and landed in his embrace. The end.